Hey everyone, so here we have all the colors, and these are mostly blacks and also some grays, and here are some mixed colors that we can make from these two compositions. There are many ways to create the blacks, and mind you, blacks have this bad reputation because of impressionism, and impressionists found out that the shadows have colors, various colors. It could be yellow as well as blue as well as violet and pinks, but previously we saw that artists like Rembrandt, Velasquez, and many others, and in the past would use the blacks, whatever blacks that they had at the time. They would use, mostly it was bone black. So the blacks can be used in various ways, and they are coming back. And blacks remain the essential color in many artists' toolkit for several reasons. Primary is the depth and contrast. I use them for contrast. Many people told me not to use it, but I thought it would be useful to mix the black with other colors. For instance, using sap green or any other color. If you add black to that, it will become super dark and crisp. So India is a very bright country, so we have a huge amount of light in most of the year, and eventually the shadows are also very dark because of this extreme sunlight. So the blacks come in very handy, especially during plein air painting, and it helped me a lot. The second point is that the blacks can be used to create this richness and mood as well. So here, all of these colors have their own advantages, and blacks are associated with mystery, elegance, and power. So it can set the tone for painting, evoking emotions and creating sort of like a facelift. And you can brighten the brighter parts by using the blacks into the shadow, maybe glazes or whatever layers, and maybe mixing with a brown or a red or a green, and you can create this extraordinary contrast. And also there is this third point where I think there is some historic value to it, and blacks are associated with traditional oil painting as well as the academic tradition. So blacks are a part of zone palette, which is now quite popular. It's an academic palette. It's a derivative of the colors that were used during when artists were in academies. So you can use black as your blue, as well as use that to create browns, etc. So very useful. It's not the kind of demon or a monster that the impressionists have projected it. So after 200 years or 160, 70 years of impressionism, we can get back to black. So we can do that. There is no problem. So here are different types of blacks that we can make. So this is ivory black. So these two are carbon-based blacks. So this is ivory black and this is lamp black. And lamp black is very seldom used. Ivory black is sufficient enough to do any kind of painting that needs a black. You don't need to have these many blacks, obviously. But if you wish to have a colored option, so then we have these options as well. And also there are these grays that we can use. And black is the darkest form of gray, so we can use that definitely. And this is like a Payne's gray, and this is called Davy's gray. And here are two colors, for instance, burnt umber and ultramarine. And if you mix them together in varied proportions, you can get a warm black as well as a cool black if the proportions are different. And here is another thing that is very popular these days. Now Gamlin comes up with a chromatic black, but here we can prepare that too. So this is phthalo green, and this is Quinacridone rose, that is PV19. And if we mix them in a certain proportion, and we can make the variations here, which way do we want for a painting, we can use these combinations to create our own colored blacks. That's what I call colored blacks. They're not grays, they're colored blacks. It's easier to understand that way. And here, blacks are not just for mixing with white. Blacks can be used with any color, even the darkest of colors, for instance, like a sap green or this green, or even this blue. And you can definitely mix it with lighter colors. Yellow ochre is a good combination to create a green for a zone palette or academic palette where you're doing portrait. You don't need a super bright green unless the sitter is actually using or wearing a very bright green dress. Otherwise, it's okay to use black with yellow ochre to create a decent green. And if you need bluish, then you can add white. So you can use blacks in various ways. And also sometimes I have done sort of monsoon pictures, because we have monsoons after the summer, and here the palette completely changes. And here, ivory black or Payne's gray, which are slightly cooler than other blacks, they can be used as blues, no problem, unless the blue sky comes up. So otherwise, if it's gray, then you can use them and it fits perfectly well. And you don't need to mix a brown or anything. It's very easy to do it. And if you need a dark monsoon green, then you can mix the sap green with some blacks, and it'll come up very nicely. So let's see what we can get out of these combinations, and let's first explore what are we getting from mixing with white. I'm mixing some amount of linseed oil to this white. It has stiffened due to some reason, I don't know, because I just used it a few days ago. So here is this proportion. Let's add it a little. Yeah. Here is ivory black. This is the most common black in the world. These two are carbon based, ivory black and lamb black. So, and this is Mars black, which is actually an earth color. So it'll be slightly warm, and these two colors will take some time to dry, whereas this will dry very quickly. And these two are Payne's gray and Davy's gray. So let's start with ivory black. Let's see what happens. Okay, so now when we are done, you can see that ivory black is a bit warmer than the lamb black and also the Payne's gray. Whereas, the Mars black that we have is exceedingly dark. So this is like a titanium white opposite, or maybe like a phthalo green. So it has that kind of a power. It's such a little patch can go a long way. So if you want a black that is slightly warmer, then you can definitely use this one. And you can see that it's going slightly towards warmer, but this you can see that this has a greater range compared to the other blacks. And if you want a painting that needs to have tremendous amount of black, then I think you should go ahead with this one. So because these colors, they have these two especially, and ivory black, these have the tendency to produce a black color that looks like the color of death. But if you use this color, you wouldn't have that problem. So this is Mars black, and Mars black is an earth color technically. So these two are carbon made. So there is a huge difference, and this will dry off very fast compared to these two. Now here is interesting because this looks like a black, and it's also acting like a black, but this is a gray that was invented. So this is a very dark gray, and it can pretty well do the basic functions of a black. And you can see that it's actually slightly bluish in nature because this has blue mixed into it. The modern variants, they have PV15 or ultramarine. These colors are mixed with browns and many other variations. They do have this tendency to appear bluish in front of all the other bright colors. Whereas this one is slightly stranger because this looks like a raw umber kind of a color, but this is a gray, a warm gray. So this has its own purposes, and Davy's gray, and you can use it in the place of raw umber. But raw umber is an earth color on its own, and you can use that as well for grisaille and stuff like that. But this is another option that you have, and lot many manufacturers don't have this one. So but I tried this one, so I have it, so I can use that whenever I want to. So these two are somewhere in the middle, whereas this one is quite warm, and this is quite cool, and this one is very warm. So we can understand. And whereas if we look at the green mixes, these two are more or less similar with slight amount of variation, and the lamb black is darker compared to ivory black. It can go very dark, whereas ivory black may not have that. You have to work a little harder with ivory black to become that dark. But here it's very easy to make. Both are carbon based, but you can see that ivory black needs a little bit more work, but this is like the most easily available color in the world. And this is Mars black. I can go up to any extent. Let's just add a little bit of oil. and it can become the color of darkness. So this is very black and very powerful. You can see how much range it has. When I tried to mix it, it gave me a pure black. It almost ate up titanium white, whereas this gray is the middle gray, and it's still difficult to lighten the color. You need to have a lot of titanium white to lighten that. So this is a great color to have, a modern color. And now, when we are looking at this Payne's gray, it's acting very well because it's having this bluish nature, which is also there in the lamp black. And this has this bluish nature, which is actually providing me a very beautiful green. So it's very natural. All these greens are natural. You might be seeing them a slight bit warmer, but they're not warm. They're quite greenish actually. Whereas, even though this color is quite warm compared to the others, it's actually giving us a decent, black color. That is quite strange. Now, there might be a situation where you don't have a black, or you have this habit of mixing your own black, or somebody told you not to use black colors. Always mix colors to get your colored blacks. So, what's wrong with having a black or maybe a colored black? I don't see a very good logic behind this nowadays when we have seen most of the art movements and we can do whatever we want to. So here I have this combination. It could be burnt sienna as well. Both of them are fine. And we can make a colored black very easily. And here you can see that it's bluish. These are direct complementaries. They can be neutralized any point. And here I'm using the burnt umber. And here you can see that it's a slight bit warmer, and I can add a little bit of blue. And here's the ultramarine, and it's very hot nowadays, even though this is monsoon and the colors are quite runny. And you can see that you can neutralize the way you want to. So here's your warm black and here's your cold black. And this is quite easy to do with these two colors. So this theory is also correct. There is no problem whatsoever. So if you want a blackish tone, you can add the proportion of blue more. Whereas if you want a warmer color, then you can add more burnt umber or burnt sienna. And similarly, here we have direct complementaries. One is phthalo green, the very powerful green color. And now I can add this quinacridone rose to this, and we can get a very dark color. And here is our another warm or cool black. If you want a warm tone, then you can add the red, or if you want a cool tone, then you can add the green more. So this is the most colorful black that we can make, and it's actually looking reddish. I don't know whether you're seeing anything or not, but this part is greenish and this part is actually reddish. And here I've neutralized both. And this is very easy to make. It's not very difficult. Here I'm trying to get the right color, and it's very easy to make. Now let's do the same exercise, and here is your white patch for cool and warm white patches, and we'll see what sort of effects they come up with. And if we take the yellow from here, we need a little bit more. So let's place the yellow and see if we can get anything. So let's start to mix and see where we are, what we are getting actually. So here is, strangely, we are getting a bluish color, but let's just add this brown and we are getting a warmish neutral color. And now we can add this to the bluish section, and it is giving us comparatively similar results, such as the Payne's gray or lamp black. But let's see, where does it go. We'll continue to add blue so that we get a clear idea about how to mix these. Maybe a slight amount. Yeah, so we have a warm gray and cool gray, and similarly here we'll add this and we are getting something very greenish in nature. It's slightly bit more pronounced in the video image, but when we are doing the same for the red part, we are getting very close to a violet color, because this green has blueness to it. It's cool, very cool green, and you can see now this one is reddish and this one is greenish, whereas this one is slightly cooler and this one is warmer, and that is the beauty of having a colored black. So some manufacturers, they produce colored blacks like Gamlin, like this chromatic color, and also Geneva colors or Geneva paint by Mark Carter, and they also come up with this kind of a black color. So now let's add these blacks with this yellow. Let's see, we are getting a very good green, and let's use this. Let's see, where does it go? It's slight bit warmish, might be. So you have this beautiful option of choosing your own colors here. So this is more versatile, but we should not discard our beautiful blacks, as they can do the same too with mixing with other colors. And you can see the phthalo green is doing the trick here. In the other one, we'll see the red will act differently. You can see this one is slight bit warmer. This is on the black. It should be comparable, the values. So we are close, and you can see what the red has done to the value. So, in summary, the black oil paints are indispensable because they provide depth, contrast, and range of tones, while also offering versatility in mixing, and a rich emotional impact of the artwork can be achieved. And whereas, these colored blacks will give you a more range in terms of the chroma. So they can go really dark, very dark, as close to some of these colors, but they have this option of colors, whereas we can use these colors with another color, for instance like this, and we can also create chromatic black or chromatic grays. Here it's very difficult to understand, but when we add a shadow, we can see that it's actually a colorful one. So don't use black. I don't think that's a very valid argument. You have a lot of options today, so use them to the fullest and then come up with your best painting. So you can see that we can get quite a beautiful range in terms of blacks. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below on your favorite shade of black or gray. And remember, keep your palette balanced. Unless you're into drama, then by all means, let those blacks and grays find it out. So I thank you for your time. Take care.